Hello, everybody. Looks okay. Move this here. Move this here. And here we are. Hey, everyone. Welcome aboard. And we'll take a little sip of beer. Cheers. And we are to start a new live show on Friday. So welcome aboard, everyone. This is the live shortwave show. This is a show about radio, shortwave radio, radio in general. It's here every Fridays at 2000 hours Universal Time. And we are here to entertain, to talk about radio. We're a bunch of radio geeks just watching and chatting along in the chat room. A great chat room that you can join in. Just say hi. People are super friendly. And we're just having here a lot of fun. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And we are here every Fridays, 2000 hours UT. And hope that you enjoy today's show. As usual, we got a few things to talk about. I'm a little tired, but I should be okay. I kind of went out yesterday with a couple of friends and came back kind of a little late, so I'm a little tired. Mostly because I didn't sleep well because of Paul the cat jumping on me all night long. But not too bad. So, hey everyone. Welcome aboard. Matambali in Colorado. Nice to have you here. William Conlon from South Ireland. Nice to have you here. Mick Hammondot from Romania. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Bobby Burgess from Morgan City, Louisiana, USA. WA 5107 SWL. Dennis Bergetzi, nice to have you here. Thank you very much. And nice to have you here. Jerry DX, hello there. Nice to have you on board. Matt, MDK2, nice to have you here, Matt. Always cool to have you on board. Dada Duden, nice to have you here, my friend. Jack, 2112, nice to have you here, Jack, N9IIF. And we are going to talk a little bit about radio conditions and a few little things to talk about also about reactivation of a station, by the way. Some of you have been hearing. Today's figures, nice to have you on board, my friend. We have PLF Radio, nice to have you on board. Bonjour et bienvenue de la France, toujours un plaisir de t'avoir parmi nous, mon ami. NL 13851, nice to have you on board from the Netherlands. XNADXer, nice to have you here, Keegan, in Northwest Arkansas. Pretty cool. Bonjour, Kevin Wood, nice to have you here, my friend. Always cool to have you on board from the eastern part of Canada. Zwal Fakar, nice to have you here, my friend. Pretty cool. Sheldon Harvey from Greenfield Park, Quebec. Bienvenue. Always nice to have you here. And don't forget that you can ask for a sample copy of the Canadian International DX Club Messenger Bulletin, a great little publication that is very interesting about radio. And you can ask that at cidxclub@yahoo.com, cidxclub@yahoo.com. You can listen in to the International Radio Report with Sheldon, me, and David on Sundays at 1430 UTC, ckut.ca. There's also a International Radio Report Facebook page that you can join in. Well, you have some of the details of what we will be talking about. Gordon Treadwell, nice to have you here. VE6GPT from West Coast, well, Alberta, Canada. Not as far west as Canada could be, but Alberta, pretty west. Anyways, compared to Montreal. Artist Out of Crafter's Kitchen, nice to have you here from rainy Massachusetts. Here it's a rainy Montreal with snowflakes mixed in from time to time, but I am crossing my fingers because we could have had an enormous amount of snow, and right now we don't have any. We just have rain, and I hope it stays like that. I really don't want to have snow this weekend. I've got a few things to do, and I got actually a big weekend ahead with tons of things to do. And Sunday will be the International Radio Report. Then we're going to a Sugar Shack. Right after, I'm leaving for a Sugar Shack, where we're going to have all sorts of food with maple syrup and all of that. And so it's going to be a big weekend. On Monday, there's a special live show that we'll talk about for the start of the HARP tests. Unfortunately, I forgot about one major thing on Monday, is that I also have a event that was planned for a long time at 7 p.m. Monday night, which is 23 UTC. So that means that our Monday show that starts at 2100 will be only about 2 hours long. Because of that, I won't be able to do more because I have something afterwards. I totally forgot when I actually put the schedule up for that. So pretty crazy life right now. Fanny Xanakis, nice to have you here, my friend. Always nice to have you here. Radio Week Signal Work, nice to have you here, my friend Pat. K7LNP in Utah. Pretty cool. Callum too, nice to have you here, Callum. Always nice to have you on board. Mike Hanna 261. It's cool. Says these Fridays are awesome because I get to listen to this awesome shortwave show every Friday. So cool. Nice to have you here. And yes, Callum, I am fine. I'm just tired, actually. John Ritson, nice to have you on board, my friend. PLF Radio, is that the Texan PL behind me? No, it's the 680. It's the PL 680, not the PL 600. So this is the PL 680 actually right here. That's over there right now. We'll be testing it this week against the XH Data D808 that I have to put up the reviews. I have several reviews to make, and we'll try to make them in the next few days to post all of that. RSP1A review that a lot of people have been waiting for. The Radio review, their XH Data review. I got tons of stuff to post, so I'm gonna have to hurry up and kick my butt a little bit. I got so many things. I gotta finish the column for the World of Utility column for the CIDX Club Messenger. So there's like tons of things that I have to do at the same time. Unpopcom, nice to have you here from South Central Pennsylvania. Joe Rodman, nice to have you here. Pretty cool to have everybody on board. As we are going down, let's go here. So Oswaldo Focar is from Ontario, Canada. Nice to have you here. Tony Westbrook, nice to have you on board from the UK. Billy Laptop, nice to have you here, my friend. Jeff King, nice to have you here. Chris Freitas, nice to have you here from Florida. And he's watching through his Toshiba Fire TV. We'll be doing some cleaning while watching the show. Well, cheers, my friend. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. Always nice to have you on board. And by the way, the other thing is that there's no show. There was normally tomorrow's the Saturday with a live show. I pushed the live show for tomorrow, next Saturday, because tomorrow there will be like 12 people here having dinner because we're having a little kind of a get together of. It's a get together for people that I've worked with in the past. So we kind of were able to kind of all gather together at the same date. So they're coming over here tomorrow night. So we'll have lots of food, lots of wine, and not too much wine because I have to be at the International Radio Report on Sunday morning. But we'll have a lot of fun, I think, tomorrow. So the tomorrow show is next week instead. It will be the VHF UHF show one that we talk about, everything above 30 megahertz. Then I do it. Is there SDR servers with support for regular stations on the FM band? If you go on Global Tuners, there's a lot of online. There's Global Tuners. There's another one that also have a lot of SDRs. They have SDRs that actually have FM band capability on them that you could go to. I don't know if a few of you out there can post some of the websites. I know Global Tuners, a lot of the receivers there can actually get the FM band. There's another one that I forgot the name that has possibility of FM band. I think the Kiwi SDRs don't go up to the FM band, I believe, or they limit the band. I don't know. I'm not sure. Radioactive, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool to have you here. What else do we have? Let's go up. Let's go up. K6YYL, Kimberly, nice to have you here from California. And it's nice to have you here. Yeah, Callum, we are looking for that spring, I can tell you that. Cyberflyer1, nice to have you here, my friend. What else we have? Rainy Portland, Oregon, says Simon. Zwolfakar says, man, my new grinding 800 millennium is amazing. Picked up teletype yesterday. Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Bullfrog 89, KD2CXU. Nice to have you on board from Albany, New York. Trying to get is XYL interested in radio. As of tomorrow, we'll have been married 1 week. Okay. Don't try too hard, because that marriage won't last if you actually maybe go too hard on radio. But you'll see. Maybe she'll be into it. And, you know, sometimes I think it's going to be, it's better off. Honestly, I think sometimes it's better off when we have our own hobbies with our little, you know, moments alone with our radios. I think it's not a bad idea sometimes to, you know, have some time off in your man cave while the wife does something else. Then, you know, when you see each other, you're happy again. Too much time together can also have the reverse effect of not enough time. You know, it's a mix of both worlds, I think, in a marriage. And congratulations, by the way, in the marriage here, and hope everything goes well. Radioactive says gel beer and sugar. Sounds interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much what's going to happen on Sunday and tomorrow also, because tomorrow I told everybody that I would do some of the food that I'll actually be cooking tomorrow will be food that usually you get at a sugar shack. So some people are like, oh, cool, it's going to be like going there, but in your home. I said, yeah. So I'm a little stressed out, honestly, because I haven't, you know, except Christmas and maybe, you know, another time in the year, 2 times a year maybe, I get, you know, we have parties here, but tomorrow's going to be, I don't know, it's with people I haven't seen in a long time, and, you know, when you cook food, you always want everything to be perfect. So I'm a little stressed by tomorrow, but anyways, it's going to be okay. I think by the end of the night, we're all going to be drunk and all going to be happy. W4GOG, Joshua, nice to have you here in Salem, South Carolina. So, says not bad on shortwave, 31 meter band wide open. And there's an increase in solar activity. Solar flux reached 80, and there's 2 sunspots that are kind of active on the sun. So it's a nice little uptick in the moments where we are in the solar minimum, actually. Neil Toombs, nice to have you on board. Bob Pierpont, nice to have you here, Bob. Pretty cool. No, the harp is lasting 4 days. It's Monday through Thursday, and there's actually an interesting thing in there that is going to be mixing art and science thanks to Amanda Dawn Christie, that is over there also. Going to be quite an interesting run of harp tests, I think. John Sumner, nice to have you here from Florham Park. Where do we go here? Joshua says, let me go here. Oh wait, just gonna check it out here. I'm looking around me. Okay, just going down. I mean the gray Texan just behind you next to your TV screen. Oh yeah, that one. Oh, I totally forgot that it's up there. Yeah, that's the PL600, absolutely. Very, very close looking to the Texan PL680 there. But yeah, I forgot that I actually put it up there. So yes, that's the Texan PL600, absolutely. Cool, Colin. Easter eggs are good. No, I did not check the spacewalk. Didn't have time at all. So we'll try it. We'll try it next time. It's fun, you know. From time to time, you watch these space stuff. It's always cool. I want to see that documentary about the Apollo 11 and Walk on the Moon. Apparently, the documentary is absolutely fantastic, and I really, really want to take time to actually go and watch that. Dave Todd, nice to have you on board. Yes, there's a couple of CMEs that are heading for Earth. The coronal mass ejections are to hit Earth either today or tomorrow, and it could spark some auroras. So here, unfortunately, it's rather cloudy, so I don't think it's going to be much of a show. But if you have clear skies, take a peek, and if you see that shortwave propagation suddenly degrades, there might be something happening actually. Gordon Treadwell says he got out of Dark Ages, upgraded from a Kenwood TS520 to an ICOM IC756 Pro 11. What a difference. Now I'm listening to plenty of broadcast stations. Cool. Rick Satter, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Matambali is listening to Voice of America, 15730 via Greenville in French. Andy Coley, nice to have you here. SDRradioworld.com. Global tuners, yeah. Pretty cool. Joshua says, I need to upgrade my base shortwave. Like a good tabletop tube radio or something nice. I got RSP1A, but it'd be used for ham soon. So, Matthew Wells, what is the best guitar tuner? You can use the tone of WWV that actually has the A note. I don't remember which one it is or which minute, but as for the rest, you can tune your guitar today with your smartphone. Just take a tuning app and it actually works fine. Neil Toombs, hope the doctor didn't give you too much grief this past week, as you mentioned last week. He wanted to see you. Yeah, he actually no. It's just that I had my annual blood tests and all, so he wanted to see if I'm all right. And he saw that my bad cholesterol is a little high. So he gave me two choices: wait another 6 months, do blood tests again, and see if it's still high. Or, and of course I told him, well, what would you prefer? And he said, well, I'd prefer that you take medication, and we'll see in 6 months. So what's happening now is I have a new medication for the high cholesterol. He said it was a better thing to do, to take the medication so that it lowers the risks of, having problems later. And he told me, it's not totally impossible that maybe we'll take it out at some point also, depending on the results next time. So we'll see anyways. But for the rest, everything apparently is great. I should live until 100 at least. So you guys are going to see me with, at 95 in a live stream on whatever YouTube is in 45 years from now. We'll see if there's still some shortwave stations around, or I'll just be ranting. In my old days, there were tons of stations to listen to or something. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board, Brian, from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Luis Arevallo, nice to have you on board, my friend. Are there any live shortwave website? Well, I don't know what you actually mean by live shortwave website, but if you want to listen to shortwave radio live, SDR.hu is really pretty good, and there's tons of radios to tune around there that you can try it out. Texan PL680, nice to have you here. Says hopefully I didn't miss too much. Just grabbing some AA batteries for the portable. Cool. And Radioactive says it's 50 Fahrenheit in Prineville, Central Oregon. KF7ELY is the ham call sign. Eddie SX, nice to have you here also, my friend. Timo93, nice to have you here. Joshua says, his man cave has my girlfriend, so she's used to my radio. She don't care, but she don't mind. Well, a good pair of headphones when the man cave and the radios are the same place. Reminds me when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, my parents didn't have a lot of money. They were okay, but we lived in a one-bedroom house. So my parents had a bedroom, and I would sleep in the living room. And of course, not having my own bedroom meant my man cave was in the living room. So the computers, I had the Commodore 64, Commodore VIC-20. I had my radios. So of course, that meant that listening to the radio most of the time was with earphones because my parents were watching TV all the time. So you get used to it, and you know what? Like I posted in one of the videos, using earphones is actually a good thing. It makes it so much better to tune around and hear signals from everywhere. Jet Gyrotech, nice to have you on board. Joe Sombra Newhouse, nice to have you on board. As Sheldon has shared, SDR.hu is a great place for all the radios. Bullfrog Ice says, thanks, Jill, you made her laugh. She's falling asleep on the couch. I'm working on a new 9-to-1 balun. Well, you know. What else do we have? Joshua says 17 and 1.5 is Voice of America. And way better than 15.730. Cool. Car is Spanish radio. Yep, you probably have Radio Exterior España, 9690 kilohertz. Pilaf Radio says Solar Flux 81. Been a long time since we've seen Solar Flux so high. 81. Pretty cool. It does show. I mean, this morning I had some ham activity on the 15 meter band that I haven't heard in a long time anything. I can tell you that. Radioactive says we should all tune our phones to your favorite scanner app and listen in to Montreal and see if the police are called to wild party at Jill's house. I've never had cops come over here because of a party, but one of my friends that we used to have his birthday party on May the 1st, and he would invite like 25 people. And every single year for like 10 years, the cops would come over because there's too much noise. The cops actually came over so many times that they knew him by his first name. So it says, come on, Jean, lower the noise, please. You know, It's the same. We've been called in 3 times tonight for the noise that you're making. Come on, take it easy. He would get real drunk, and I remember one time I went to the party, and he got real drunk. And the next day, calls me up, says, "Hey, was the music loud last night?" I said, "Yeah, it's pretty loud, yeah." Because he says, "My next door neighbor doesn't talk to me this morning." I said, "Well, I would be your neighbor. I'd probably be mad also." I remember telling him, I said, "I actually told you 3 times, don't you think the music's a little loud for the time of night?" And you looked at me and just said, "Nah, it's okay." It's good. Yeah, okay. Well, it ain't my home, so okay. Calvin says it's a balance with relationships. Absolutely. It has to. Keegan, all his reception that we'll have over there is done at his QTH with an Ethon Granding Edition Field BT radio. He's got WWVS 5 out of 5 on 10 megahertz. Simon Templar says yesterday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, NHK World Radio Japan was booming into Portland. Did a couple of videos posted on YouTube. Cool. We'll be checking that out. Hey, William Helms. Nice to have you on board from Florida. Pretty cool. Anything new here? David Arden, KJ4CMY. Finally into the chat. Hey, everyone. Don't forget that this is the last weekend that we are officially in the B18 schedule season. Next Sunday of next week, will be in the new schedules of the A19 season, which usually start on a Sunday. So that means it would start next, because I saw some, so it's March 31st, next Sunday. So the A19, the schedules for summer, are starting out Sunday of next week. So we're in the last week of the schedules for the winter time. So if you're listening to some unusual broadcasts right now on different frequencies, take note and listen in, because these frequencies might change next week. Sometimes not for the better, sometimes for the better, Artist Helicopter's Kitchen. When does the Apollo 11 documentary come out on Apollo SpaceNet? As my dad worked on the Project Apollo. It's out now. I saw it. It's screening at a very, very few movie theaters, but it's out now. It's actually there's a couple of movie theaters downtown here that are actually showing it, and they even have a version in IMAX. So it's out now, and the only reason I knew is because sometimes people are annoyed about online ads, but I did have an online ad for that, and I was like, oh, look at that. And apparently it is amazing. There's a ton of footage in the Apollo 11 documentary that we have never seen before. They went into the vault where everything was stored, and they found tons and tons of movie reels that were done back then that never had been shown to anyone. So apparently it is absolutely stunning. And apparently it actually is so good that it actually puts you back into the full excitement of that amazing moment of the Apollo 11, from the start when they start to put the Saturn V rocket at the launch pad, to the time that they launch, they go to the moon and all of it. Apparently it is amazing. And I want to see that. I'm going to have to check it out. Maybe go next week. I'm going to go. I don't know with who go. I'm probably going to go alone, because I don't even know anybody who's going to tell me. Most people are going to tell me, like, really? Apollo 11 moon landing documentary? The movie theater? I don't think so. So I'll probably go alone, which is, anyways, all right, because you get concentrated on the movie screen. Ah, man. What else do we have here? Yeah, Neil Toombs, I've joined the Statins Club, absolutely. He started with 5. I'm starting with 5 milligrams here, so we'll see. I don't know if it is because of that. I feel kind of weird today, and I've been taking it. I took the first one yesterday, and I took the other one this morning, and I feel kind of bizarre a little bit, like a little spaced out. So I was wondering if it wasn't that doing some kind of effect that's going to last for a few days before everything is kind of back to normal. But I do feel kind of spaced out today a little bit. It's like something's weird. Luis Arevalo, I don't know. He gave me the number, but I don't remember what it is. Apparently, it's not very high. It's higher than it should be, but apparently it's not very high. So I don't know. And you know, I gotta lose weight. I want to lose at least 20 pounds. I got a big belly now. I took a lot of weight during the winter since Christmas, I would say. At Christmas, I went down to about 189 pounds, and then since Christmas, in the past 2 months, I've moved up to about 208, and I was at 205 pounds. I think it was yesterday morning. I want to go back to about 185-ish. That's where I kind of feel better. So maybe that's going to help also. David Arden says, hi from sunny Georgia, 16 Celsius. Not bad. This is not bad. Here it's about, it's about 3 Celsius here right now with rain. And Nicole says, if you start get pain in your legs, start statins. Yeah, I saw something about that because I always look at the medication they give me. I always look at the information on the internet of what does it do and how does it work and all of it. And I saw that there was a lot of warnings for different things that could arise, especially when you get the higher amounts. And I know that for some people, apparently it can even be dangerous. Man. Joshua Gosnell, I got a picture I took from my phone in 2014 when solar flux was 155. A was 25 and K2. 10 meter was DXing. Oh yeah, absolutely. How about the solar flux above 100? I noticed over years, if you look at solar flux numbers for solar activity, I've noticed over the years that when we start going higher than 80, there's a possibility of 10 meter being open. I wouldn't be surprised at 81 that 10 meters might be open, actually. It doesn't require, it's funny because, yes, there's a wide range of solar flux and you can go very high, but I've noticed that just a 20-30 point increase is often more than enough to actually have the 10 meter band wide open. So I wouldn't be surprised that the 10 meter band be wide open this weekend at 80 and plus. We'll see if it actually goes even higher than 81. But I think the next numbers we'll have are 21 UT. It's going to be interesting to see this. My highest solar flux I've ever seen, because I used to take, before computers and all, I used to take, I was kind of a fan of, mathematics, math, and charts and graphics. What I would do is I would buy I would have two binders. One had the solar flux and the K-index readings every day that I had written down. And on the other binder, I would take these numbers and put a chart. And every month I would draw a chart of what the month looked like. And I would draw a chart of the year to see also the progress of the year. And the highest solar flux I've ever seen was somewhere in the late 80s, 363. I still remember the number. Solar flux was 363. So you guys can see that the activity on the sun was pretty amazing back then. No surprising that the 10 meter band was open all the time. Radio Shack Radioactive says, when the shack is in the living room, yes, headsets are important. Absolutely, totally right. Absolutely. Kimberly, garlic is a great cholesterol reducer. It works. I have used it and had very good cholesterol levels. I am a big fan of garlic, so I got no problem with that. I actually put too much garlic in pretty much everything. Oh man. Brian Penny says Pancho Villa is too selling. So send reports to voice of Pancho Villa at yahoo.com. And I think they were on the other night. I saw a report a couple of days ago of Pancho Villa being actually heard on the pirate bands. Because that's the famous pirate that's always there for some reason, for some mysterious reason, in when there's the Shortwave Festival in Pennsylvania. Joshua, does anybody know what's on 15490? Let's tune it here. Let's go differently and tune it on the. So I've got nothing here on 15490. And we'll tune here today. It's going to be kind of a different thing than tuning over there. Let me just go to the EIBI space. And the schedules, as PLF Radio said, have been updated a couple of days ago, actually on my birthday, which was on Wednesday. I'm officially in the 50 years club. So my birthday was on Wednesday. So I am officially at 50. My 40s are over and done and thing of the past now. I gotta say, it felt a little weird. I felt kind of, you know, when you're young, you always think that, you know, it's like, I mean, when you're 20, you think that people at 50 are kind of old farts or something, you know. And which was what I was thinking when I was 20. And now today I look at myself at 50 and I'm like, I'm not an old fart. What the hell is that? Oh, man. Time flies. My nephew is in Australia, and he actually was at the Melbourne airport today. And it was, I think, yesterday or the day before, he had a picture of himself with a glass of wine and at the hotel and looking at the view and saying, you know, enjoying what's left of Australia. And I said, you know what? Enjoy it and do more of these trips, because I can tell you one thing is that the time flies so much that I mean, how fast your trip went in Australia for the 10, 12 days that you were there is pretty much how fast my life has gone to 50 years old. So you got to enjoy every moment. By the way, on 15490 on Fridays, and the only broadcast, and it ended 8 minutes ago. So if you were listening before 2030, here it's not in Spanish or anything. It's in Hausa. It was the BBC World Service from Ascension Islands that has a broadcast 20 to 2030 UT in Fridays in Hausa for West Africa via Ascension Islands. It's the only broadcast that I see here that was on 15490. So maybe that's what you heard on that frequency, by the way. So that's why I'm not hearing it. Maybe because it's too many minutes ago. Jerry has 14101.10 Novolazarevskaya base in Antarctica. Really? What's the idea of it? What do you hear as an identification? I'm amazed you're getting that beacon for 14101.10. I'm just going to go here. 14101. Let's put ourselves in upper sideband and see if I get anything here. Can't say I'm hearing anything. Weird. Seinfeld episode mentioning garlic. Oh man. I love Seinfeld. Randy in Riverside, California. Nice to have you on board. Sheldon says too much Duran Duran music. Oh man. Oh god. More Duran Duran. More than ever. We should have a Duran Duran day. Every station playing Duran Duran all around. I can imagine Sheldon saying, well, today I'm not going to listen to the radio. Keith Logan, nice to have you here. Joshua, BBC on 12095. Let's check it out here. It's not super strong, but I am receiving it here. But it's not very strong. It's in the noise. It's so weird because of the DSP in here. The noise floor is always down because the DSP kind of removes some of the noise. So Keith Logan, we are talking about radio. Paul to the cinema. I'm not sure that's a good idea. So there's all the Crafter's Kitchen says just looked at the Apollo 11 Showtime playing near him. So cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go this week. It's not playing in a lot of places. I mean, you know, it's not a big movie. I mean, you gotta want to like these stuff. You know, to enjoy that. I can tell you that. Yeah, Kimberly. I've seen a lot of stuff. Actually, there's a the first thing that I came across when I looked at the statins, the medication that I was given is a warning from the Government of Canada Health Services. They're saying that to be very, very careful. For some people, it can cause like really bad stuff. So, you know. When's the next computer show? For now, there's none really in the plans. I kind of, you know. Kid Logan, when do you listen on shortwave? All sorts of things. Stations from, you know, other countries, amateur radio operators, aeronautical, you know, planes over the Atlantic Ocean. All sorts of things. And there's so many things that you can listen to, actually. It's a fun hobby. Don Stefano, nice to have you on board from Frankfurt, Germany. Frankfurt, Germany. So let's go down. What else do we have? What else do we have? If I miss out on anybody, please say hi, by the way. Going a little faster, try to catch up with everybody. Matt says, since I've been in the hobby a relatively short while, the highest solar flux I've seen was around 180 when that big X-class flare erupted in the summer of 2017. Pretty cool. Yeah, that was an amazing flare because it was already in the decline of the solar activity. And that X-class flare was actually the biggest flare of all of the solar cycle 24. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. Now that was a flare. Thanks for the happy birthday, guys. Hey, McGlone, nice to have you here. Hi, Mapper, nice to have you on board from Moscow, Russia. Merci pour les vœux d'anniversaire, PLF Radio. And it's downhill from here. Oh, man. Bro Weaver, nice to have you here. Tony Westbrook, nice to have you on board. Yeah, it's a beacon, so it must be some kind of Morse code beacon. from Antarctica, I would guess. A beacon is like a... Most of the beacons in the amateur band are there for propagation purposes. They will send out mostly Morse code identification with their call signs. They are most of the time there for purpose of propagation, knowing if propagation actually will work from one point to the other. RDB, nice to have you on board. Says, let me tell you, I'm 77, still loving life, including family, work, and hobbies. It ain't over till it's over. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right on that. Summon Templar, some activity on 14332. Justin Mass says, love this show. Keep it up. Thank you very much. Turns out the crafter says, Jill, I just saw a trailer for Apollo 11. Apparently it has 70mm footage, much which was never seen by the public. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff in there that is apparently amazingly beautiful to see. So I want to see that for sure. For sure. Keegan 12095, nothing but noise. Random Hobbyist, nice to have you on board. Still don't have the ham ticket. It's soon to be there though. I'm checking it out. I promised you guys by the end of this year I will have it. I'll have it. Ron C, nice to have you on board. Radio Week signal work. Where's a good place to find out where the pirate stations are broadcasting? HF Underground is really the website to check it out. If you go to HF Underground, hfunderground.org, hfunderground.com, sorry, hfunderground.com, you will have all the info you need about pirate stations. But you know, overall, because one of the things that's fooling us a little bit lately in the pirate station broadcasting is because of the propagation conditions not being that great. A lot of the regular frequency ranges where we have pirate stations, the stations tend to move on to lower frequencies that we don't often know exactly where they are. So I've seen pirate stations show up in the 3 megahertz, 4 megahertz range and 5 megahertz range in the past year because they just go down frequency because the regular pirate band of 6850 to 7000 kilohertz in North America isn't broadcasting much. So basically you can go to hfunderground.com and Matt has also given the link. It is an amazing place. There you will see people posting of receiving stations. So if you stumble upon one, you'll have, it's almost real time. I mean, a station pops up, pirate station pops up. It takes 5 or 10 minutes, and somebody already posts the information. And at the same time, if you haven't had the chance to get any identification, you'll be able to get the ID. Very often somebody will post the ID as, oh, that's this pirate station. So right now, if I look, for example, for North America, Shortwave Pirates, last post is at 1840 UT today, and there's a station on 6925. I guess we can check out the pirate bands. It could be a good idea to check out the pirate bands. I'll put myself in upper sideband here and check out the pirate bands. So I've tuned in to no pirate stations right now. But it's the best place to be. You'll have a lot of information. But overall, still, even though some pirates are broadcasting off on other lower frequencies, I would say that for the most part, 6850 to 7000 kilohertz probably 75% of all the pirates still broadcast in that frequency range. So Radio Weak Signal Works has been looking for XFM. They were there. When was XFM's last broadcast? It was I got a QSL. It's from I've heard them last time. I think it was last fall or something, like October, November, something like that. I got a QSL card from XFM actually. I don't know if I have it here. Just to see if I can show it. I must have it in my email here. XFM. Yeah, here we go. We have. Here we go. So this is XFM. Actually, XFM Pirate was in the chat room a few times. When you see the guy calling himself Red Hat Shortwave, he's the guy behind XFM Pirate. So this is the QSL from 25th of November, and look at the frequency. He was on 4070. So this is the QSL I got from the last report to XFM. So it gives you an idea of so he sends out EQSLs that are very nice. And so it's the Thanksgiving program on 25th of November at 0255 Zulu, 4070 kilohertz AM. So this is pretty cool. And I think it's really a lot of fun to chase these pirates and check out, you know, what they are actually doing. You know, it's always a lot of fun. So HF Underground is the place to go for pirates. Really the place where you'll get all the information. Hakan Gustafsson from the Canary Islands. Nice to have you here. Isn't that a first? Canary Islands on the live show? Pretty cool. Thanks for being here. Tony Westbrook says 12095. Probably a typo there. Matt says last Saturday Wolverine Radio was on stage for 43 minutes for the first time in several months. He had been going down 4 megahertz, lower megahertz for most broadcasts. I hope that's a sign of seasonal improvement. Yeah, you know, we are getting to longer days, so actually we are going to have better and improved pirate band, 6 megahertz, 7 megahertz pirate band reception for sure as we get into summer. Here in Montreal, I've noticed that the best time for pirate broadcasts to be heard on the 6850, you know, 6800, 7000 kilohertz range, you know, starting pretty much now until and all through summer is probably the best time for until, you know, we get to August or September. The winter time, unless conditions are really amazing, the winter time, unless they are early evening or late afternoon local, I don't hear much in the 6900 kilohertz range. Miki Delmage, nice to have you on board from Alberta, Canada. And thank you for the birthday wishes. It's nice to have you on board. I'm just trying to find where I was and chat because I lost everything. There we go. And so happy birthday, young fella. From what has been an amazing week of weather near Sherwood Park, sunny every day in the mid to high teens. Welcome to spring. Cool. Here it wasn't too bad. We had a few days that felt really good. I really am looking forward to having. I'm looking at the Radio Wow and the XH data receivers, and I'm just hoping that it gets just warm enough so I can spend some time outside, far from, you know, the noise of the homes. So pretty cool. William Collins says pirates often come up on HFIRO 6622. Interesting. It could be more of like, because there's different in the 6 megahertz range. There's different types of transmissions that are really kind of a mixed bag of all sorts of things. So you usually most pirate stations try to avoid interference with broadcasting or aeronautical stuff. I would say most of the time when I hear something that is communications on a frequency, so like you say, you hear stuff on HFIRO 6622, often it's more of the kind of fishermen or whatever, South Americans or from everywhere. I mean, it could be from South Central America. It could be even from Europe. People that use these radios to like have two-way links, like walkie-talkies, and they often pop up everywhere. They don't have that sense of being careful because of here is a transmission that we need to make sure we don't interfere with. It kind of doesn't work like that for them. So because they don't understand it, they just have a radio in front of them and they're using it for communications. But a lot of that is happening pretty much everywhere in the band. I had one, I think it was Wednesday evening. I heard one very, very loud, and it sounded like Italian. I was pretty sure it was Italian language, and it was around 50. It was something like 5475 around there, and it was really a two-way communications. And they really sounded Italian. I wouldn't be surprised it was coming from Europe or from Italy, as propagation was quite good to Europe at that time. So, Matt got a nice XFM QSL package in the mail a week ago. Sticker, QSL card, and CD of music. Wow, this is cool. I've had those. I have a few of these CDs lying around that they got over time, of pirate stations that I had over with the shows and all sorts of gizmos of all sorts. It's kind of cool when you get these packages from pirate stations, especially considering that most pirate stations don't have really a very high budget for that. D1 DJK, nice to have you on board, my friend, and thank you for the birthday wishes. PLF Radio, to receive your EQSL, you give your shortwave number. Well, I don't have a official shortwave. I don't have an official shortwave number. All I do is just say that I was listening in. So that QSL was posted in my name. Only my name, honestly. So, Matt says, really love one pirate called XLR8, but that one has been inactive for a while. Used to have a big signal, but it got weaker and weaker. But he took requests off of the HF Underground posts. Yeah, and a lot of them, by the way, if you sign up for an account on HF Underground so you can post there, a lot of pirates actually take a look at the HF Underground posts and will often acknowledge reception or say hi to people that they see have posted that they're receiving the station at their location. So that's also something. You can also send emails. What's nice, a lot of pirates also do this. They will often read or say hi to the people they receive emails from live on their pirate shows. Bob, nice to have you here. N2DET in Long Island, New York. Mickey says, had great reception of Storm Coast Radio 6960 on March 23rd. Said he was using 30 watts. Youch, that was very low power. Amazing. Amazing. Matt says that was one pirate I couldn't get for some reason. Frustrating because West Coast pirates are scarce. There's a lot of the pirates that seem to really, really concentrate from the central and northeast of the United States, and I wouldn't be surprised there are a couple from Canada, like from southern Ontario or places like that. The A1DJK at morning's reception was brilliant this week. Got 50 or 530 UTC on 41 meter band. The Radio Havana and Rebelde stations, also Havana on 6,000 kilohertz, quite good. So pretty cool. So take care, Matt. Hey, Mick, nice to have you here. Mick, hey, nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty nice. Kimberly, my birthday was on Wednesday, March 20th. My birthday was last Wednesday. And I got my 50 years of age. David Arden says, with so much talk about pirate radio, I'm going to get out my eye patch and my parrot. Yes, please, David. We want a picture. We want a picture. I need to put up the pirate flag again. Oh, Brian Penny has a great tip. A great tip here. Because yes, it often happens when you are listening and receiving pirate radio stations. Have your slow scan TV program up and running, like MMSS TV for Windows, or if you have an Android or a iPhone or an iPad or an Android tablet, you can download Robot 36 app. And a lot of pirates do send out slow scan television pictures. So it's very important, absolutely, to be prepared. I've even had, you can do that. Most of them that do it with slow scan TV pictures. A lot of them that don't actually, that's also another trick to understand. A lot of them don't EQSL or bother to answer back when you listen to them and send an email, or some of them just don't give out an email. They will send a slow scan TV picture because it's kind of your QSL card. You want to have an EQSL or a QSL card? Well, that slow scan TV picture for a lot of pirates is the QSL. It's their way of sending out a QSL. They're sending it through slow scan TV. And don't, leave the other decoding programs far from there, because I've heard a couple of pirates also that were sending out MFSK32 text. So you can use FLDG software and just have it ready. Just have it ready in case they send out some digital modes. D-Raf, nice to have you here. Bob, let me just go back down here. Bob Geist says, I'm very interested in the pirate fisherman communication frequencies. Apparently they are known as pescadores. Where's a good place to look for them? They pop up everywhere. So when I say everywhere, I mean you can hear them virtually. I've heard them as high as 13 megahertz and even maybe higher than that. I might have heard some at the 16 megahertz range also. But a lot of them are slowly tuned in the 5, 6, 7 megahertz, 8 megahertz range when propagation isn't too bad. Chances are you'll hear some almost certainly by tuning in one evening or regularly. I hear them so often. There's a lot of them that actually are within the pirate band frequencies. So when I tune in 6,800 to 7,000 kilohertz, when there's no pirate station, there's often these pescadores that are there, the fishermen, having two-way communications. So and you can have an idea sometimes where they come from there. They speak Portuguese. You might think that might be from Brazil, or and I'm talking, and I have a little funny moment this week. I saw a post in one of the shortwave groups And the guy said, "Hey, I heard a station on 11780 from Brazil, and they were talking in Brazilian." I was like, "Brazilian? Don't you mean Portuguese?" Oh man, it was that little smile moment. It was like, "Oh, and Brazilian? Oh, really? It's called Portuguese, by the way." Ah, man. Buen amigo. ¿Cómo está mi amigo from Barcelona? Nice to have you on board, my friend. Pretty cool. So Bobby is back. Cool. D1 DJK says, I have here a lot of Dutch pirates on medium wave. Often they broadcast any music around 1645 kilohertz. There's a lot of pirates in Europe. It's just amazing. It's just amazing, the activity over there and everywhere. I mean, medium wave, shortwave. It's pretty crazy. Brian Penny says, was able to copy Europirate laser hot hits in the UK this week. Also, Charity Radio from Ireland was experimenting on 5810. Kimberly says, thank you very much. And, well, yeah, we are following each other very, very closely. Absolutely, Kimberly. But we're still young, and we're still in shape. We're going to conquer the world, even though we're 50. We can still conquer the world. Well, at least I'm trying with this show. Fastlow, nice to have you on board, my friend. How was the beer last night at the bar? We're going to see each other Monday night, by the way. And if you're listening in, Fastload, Monday night, because I have a show here, I'll be a little late. Save me a space. Save me a chair next to you at the Monday night event, so that we can sit at the same table. Radioactive says, speaking of utility station, the San Francisco ATC on 11282, nice and strong. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. David Clark, nice to have you on board from Torby Devon, UK. He says it was 61 on Wednesday. Oh, wow. So your birthday is on March 20th also. Cool. Well, happy birthday, M1EJE. Nice to have you here. KI5CWF and WA5136SWL. By the way, I looked at your video. I didn't actually answer back to your email yet, but I looked at your video on YouTube, and I also subscribed and liked so that it could be viewed from my channel also. By the way, and nice to have you on board from Moore, Oklahoma. Sorry if I wanted to answer you the other day, and something happened, and I completely got off of mine. But keep up the videos, man. Keep up the videos, and you know the first ones. I mean, they're fine. The ones you did are fine. But you know the first ones we do are always a little kind of. We're not sure exactly. Is this okay, or you know? And as you'll do more and more, you know, just you'll get better, and you'll think about things to do and to say, and you know, just you know, it's always I remember the first video I post online, and I was like, man, people are gonna look at it and say, well, that's a crappy video. But you know, you got to do it. You just do it, and that's it. And what I saw was fine, honestly. Just continue and post more. You'll get there, and you'll slowly build an audience. You know, the key to building an audience on YouTube is really two things. You know, regular posts, and try to have your own thing. You know, like I have these shows. This is my own thing. The way I do it, you know. We all have our way of doing things, you know. There's if I look at Two Hands in the Radio, has his thing, it's kind of neat. Todderbert has his thing, kind of neat also, very nice. So you know, there are these channels that are pretty cool. It's just post, and you'll be all right, and you're doing fine already. William Helms was 55 on February 12th. So we're in the 50s club. So going down here, Sakura DX, nice to have you on board. And nice to have you back, my friend, from Japan. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yep, the Pancho Villa, voice of Pancho Villa at yahoo.com for the Pancho Villa Pirate. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Callum loves analog radio. It's fun. You know, everything is kind of cool. Everything is just nice. You know, there's so much coolness in old analog. Bullfrog 89, Brazilian is a wax, not a language. Oh, man. Yeah, the Ottawa Cadman. Yeah, it's like, say, speak Canadian. I heard Radio Canada International in Canadian last night. Thanks, Fastload. I should be there around 7:30. Because I'll do the 2-hour show here, then prepare myself and leave for the night. So I'll be there around 7:30. And thanks for taking that little time to keep it chair. McGlone, hey, I'm talking Canadian. Although, you know, with some of the Québécois francophone, you can almost say they're speaking Québécois. It's sometimes a little heavy on the very unique Quebec accent in the French language. Why is DAB radio being pushed? You know, a lot of that is there's that debate. You know, DAB radio or digital audio broadcasting. I can understand part of it. As with TV, we went. You know, I mean, TV annoyed some people. There was a lot of people that were annoyed at the fact that we moved to HDTV. And that their old TV, you needed a box to, you know, receive the signal if you wanted to continue. But there's a true advantage to the quality of the picture. I mean, if you listen to if you watch HDTV over the air, it's obviously very beautiful compared to old analog stuff that we used to have. The problem with digital audio broadcasting is that it's not as clear cut. It's not as clear cut that you're having, you know, a better quality, especially for FM broadcasting, considering that FM radio is pretty good and pretty decent quality already. Yeah, they kind of push it in the way that they're saying, well, you know, you'll get CD quality audio. Yeah, I'm sure it's better a little bit, but you know what? It's much more of a. I find that everything digital over radio right now that is DAB or DRM is a gimmick. Let's try to revive radio by going digital. When in reality, if you want to revive radio, stop playing crappy music and stop having crappy shows. It's not a question of DAB over FM. It's a question of crappy stuff versus interesting stuff to listen to. Much more. Much more, actually. You know. Yeah, 20 WebSDR is pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. It's one of the best. One of the best. Yeah. fmscan.org is a great website. Yeah, absolutely. Lots of information there. Absolutely. Mick, what you mentioned? Two hands and a radio. And the other one, no, it's Todderbert. Toddrbert, I believe. Todderbert. I just posted the name. He does reviews of old and new radios. He's got his own thing, and he's getting pretty good at it too. Bobby, HDSDR does not have scanning functions like SDR Uno, right? Not that I know of. I don't think HDSDR can scan from a frequency range to another. KI5CWF purchased the Radio R108. You'll be happy. It's a great radio. I love mine. I've listened to it all week. I've been taking notes for my review. You'll like it. You'll like it. Like the XH Data D808. Amazing little radio. I gotta say they're great. So yeah, D1 DJK. That's a lot of us are like that. Receiving AM radio or medium wave. There's so much interference from all the stuff around us. Sometimes you got to shut down your PC or shut down devices or shut down the TV, or it's not always easy to listen to the AM radio band anymore. William Collins says, is RSP1A a good SDR? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you want one SDR that really is great, RSP1A from SDR Play. Matthew Wells, nice to have you here, says his internet is slow. Brent, nice to have you on board from Kingston, Ontario, Canada. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's now go down. Yes, that's what I was about to come to, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. I'll take a pause here in the Pancho Villa. Okay, W5KJL. The Pancho Villa. Better now? The voice of Pancho Villa. Oh, man. So, okay, I'm taking a little pause here in the chat where I am. So I'm at Sheldon mentioning Radio Apinti in Suriname. So there's reactivation of that station, Radio Apinti in Suriname in South America. So they've been on 4990 kilohertz. I'm getting tons of people and report everywhere of people receiving it last night. They all mentioned the same thing though, that the signal wasn't too bad for a lot of them, but the audio is apparently low, which is always sad because I mean you can when the audio is low, it can really seriously deteriorate reception of a fine station. But check that out, guys. Radio Apinti in Suriname reactivated 4990 kilohertz and the 60 meter band, and well, I'll try to tune that in a little bit later. Hopefully, it might be making it to Montreal. It's still early here, but let me just go to. I'm just gonna check for the Cubans on. So it's still no. When there's no Radio Rebelde, there's no Central South America for sure. We're going to be checking that out later on for sure. I would like to receive it here at home. I could make a video out of it. So guys, check that out. Radio Apinti, Suriname, in the 60 meter band, 4990 kilohertz. Lots of people hearing it. Yesterday, I know that people heard it up to late, like 05. I've seen posted to 05 or 0600 hours UTC on 4990, so check it out. It might be a nice DX target for you guys. Harp, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Harp, the high active, auroral, whatever all the rest is about. The test from Alaska from the HARP facility is going to start on Monday. Now, I have a special show because I told Chris Fallon, that is in charge of the project, that we would be live on Monday starting 21 hours UTC. So just make note of that, because I'm not going to be at 20. I'm going to be at 21 to start on Monday. I could be at 20, but I wasn't sure, so I preferred to say 21 to make sure that everybody knows that I'm there. If I can make it at 20, I'll try. They are going to, of course, have 4 days of tests of the HARP project in Alaska with different frequencies. We don't know in advance the times and the frequencies of the tests. They are given almost like 5 minutes before everything starts by Chris Fallon and the HARP project. You can actually follow on Twitter, and I'm putting this in the chat, CT Fallon on Twitter. Chris Fallon was in the chat room last time that we had HARP tests. Hopefully he might be in the chat room. He knows that I will be doing a live show. And there's something very unique that's going on with that, because there's Amanda Dawn Christie. Now she's the girl behind the Sackville transmitter site documentary of Radio-Canada International and Spectres of Shortwave. She is and prepared a very special art versus science versus experiment with patterns, and I believe if you want to see this, using an SDR will be the best, because she has all sorts of things that are going to happen in patterns that will show up in the software-defined receivers waterfall as the tests are being done on different frequencies. Also with that, some slow scan television possibly will be transmitted from the HARP facility. There's a lot of things in there. So that's going to happen. And there's, of course, we will know the frequencies in the transmissions pretty much as they happen on Monday night and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. Often, and I would say that in general, tests of the HARP project start from around 21 UT very often, and will run through 02, 03, sometimes even 0400 UT. It all depends on the time they have over there, what they are going to do. There are some other transmissions sometimes in the early UTC times, like you know, in the early mornings of like 08, 0700 UT. So there's going to be stuff, and follow Chris Fallon on Twitter. He will actually post as the time goes, the frequencies they're moving to. It all depends on the maximum usable frequency above their project, what frequency they'll be using. And you know, hopefully Monday and 2 hours I'll be live. We'll try to follow some of the HARP project signals, and if not, of course I will be checking out HARP on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not sure yet. I was thinking of maybe adding another live show for HARP. It could maybe happen on Wednesday. So if we have only 2 hours Monday, it's not impossible that I will be live on Wednesday also, to go and try to chase live more of the HARP project signals. So they could be anywhere from very low frequencies in the 2 megahertz range all the way up. I believe 10 megahertz is the highest that it goes. Last time they did tests, we had a live show. They were in the 3 megahertz range, a little bit in the 2 megahertz range. We did get some of those signals here in Montreal on the SDR. Some of you, of course, closer to Alaska might hear more of that. So we're going to be doing that. So Monday, mark this on your calendar. I'll be live 2100 UTC. And we're going to do a 2-hour show because after that I have to go at an event with Mr. Fastload. So we'll have 2 hours there. And mark your calendar for Wednesday. Wednesday will be the Wednesday will be the 27th. 2100 UT again. Mark your calendar. There's a good chance that I'll be live again. And we'll be chasing more HARP signals. So it'll be a higher concentration of live shows next week for the HARP project. And you know, so next week there's a possibility you guys are going to get 4 live shows. So and talking about that, if you like that and you find it really cool that I do this, how about a donation? You can give me a PayPal donation at paypal.me/shortwave, or you can of course send it to my Yahoo email. If you want to support, if you want to encourage me, if you want to make me feel like doing more shows, like, you know, possibly doing 4 next week. That's a lot of shows. I mean, that's a lot of talk, a lot of time devoted just to do these shows. If you really enjoy what I do, why not think about it? A little donation. It will really, really help me. I mean, I pay for a higher, more expensive internet connection just because I have to do live shows. It costs money for me to do this. I need to, you know, replace equipment. I got to buy lighting systems. I got to change these lighting systems from time to time. It's not a free operation. I mean, if everything was free, it was pretty cool, but it's not a free operation. And you know, if you want to help me out, if you like the fact that I'll be there live for 2 hours on Monday, possibly live for I don't know how many hours on Wednesday, plus we'll have our live shows on Friday and Saturday of next week. You know, think about it. If it's totally worth it, if you like what I do, if you think it's worth it, I think, you know, a little something, just, you know, be cool. Be cool if you, you know, give a couple of bucks, you know. And any amount helps, by the way. Doesn't matter whatever amount. And it's time for me to fill up my beer now. So lots of stuff happening. And don't forget that Radio Pinti in Suriname. And now we are having beer number 2, Trois Pistoles, which is a city in the province of Quebec. And we will now have beer number 2 after what, an hour and a half. So I'm not drinking too fast tonight, which is pretty good. It usually isn't a good idea when I drink too fast. And I've got a lot of a little too much here. Here we go. So this is beer number 2. And you are watching, after an hour and 8 minutes live now, the Shortwave radio show from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles, and hope that you enjoy this. It's from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. We talk about radio. KI5CWF says replace the plastic case for a metal case. Did you see a difference, KI5CWF, by the way, and metal case? Yes, next week, absolutely, D1DJK. Next week on Sunday is the A19 period for shortwave. We're going from B18 to A19. So there's 2 scheduled seasons in a year, A and B. So now we're getting back to A19 schedule season. Sakura DX, now I tune in to North Korea from South Korea. People's Voice Broadcasting on 3480. Severe jamming covers the signal. So selected USB mode signal is now completely understandable. Cool. Cool. Finding Zanak is less radio with better content when broadcasting, like international shortwave programs of the past. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, Amrad 88 is also very, very good. Absolutely. Amrad 88 is very, very Very, very good content on his channel also. Tom Styles. Very, very nice. Okay, let's continue now and try to catch up again. Can anybody tell Sakura DX about how galvanic isolators work? Does the device work for ordinary radio and receivers? Tony Westbrook says, I don't think the AB had much to do with audio quality. I think it was introduced in Europe for car tracking. Because they do push the better audio quality most of the time. So, what else do we have? Fast load. Oh, are you doing the blue one? He's doing some 3D printing. The blue one. I want to see the blue one when it's over. You never know, Fanny Xanakis. You should try that out. You never know. Harry Erkila. Nice to have you here from Finland. Pretty cool. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Nice to have you here. Yeah, I think there's still some talk, Tony, about DAB in Canada somehow, but there's no timeline and no definite. You know, one of the biggest problems with DAB and all of that, it's like HDTV. It makes us lose part of our DX capabilities. I mean, I loved when Sporadic eSkip happened to be able to DX TV channels, which is something you can't do anymore. You know? ADSX, the power supply used for the Yaesu here. Well, right now it's it's plugged in on a small 5 amp power supply. Because I don't transmit, it's okay. It gives enough power for the receive. But I will have to get myself a bigger power supply when I get my ham ticket, because they recommend I think they recommend a 30 amp power supply for the FT450. So so right now, since it's just in reception, it works fine on a 5 amp power supply because the receive doesn't take. I measured the power consumption on receive with my my meter at something like 1.5 amps. So as long as you get about 1 amp, 1.5 amp off of a power supply, you're okay. You're okay for the receive at least. Shitty Pyro 90, nice to have you here. Yes, BLF Radio Norway left the FM broadcast for DAB. Absolutely, they're digital only. So like Sheldon says, you can listen to Radio Apinti on Suriname, 4990 kilohertz after dark. They play a lot of music. It's a relay of an FM station, so you can compare. They have the website apinti.sr, so you can actually compare the signal, what you're receiving, with what the stream is like. So thanks for sharing all that information also, Sheldon. Much appreciated. And we'll be checking that for sure. I will try tonight. I will really try tonight. Jerry's got weather facts on 9108.5. Yeah, that's, I believe, Boston. Let's see if we got it here. Not really hearing it here. But I believe Boston is on 9110. Yes, PLF Radio. By the way, I do have to set that up again so that it automatically tweets also for the shows, because YouTube has decided to stop the automatic tweeting of videos and shows. So I need to take the time to tweet again when I do live shows. Technically YouTube notifications should still work, so hopefully you guys will get that for sure. Thanks to Sheldon for the Heart Project webpage info that you shared. Really useful stuff there. Thank you so much. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to chase harp next week. So Monday we'll be there. So Monday we'll be there, and the Wednesday will probably be there also. So that's going to be a lot of fun to check it out and to tune in to the harp stuff for sure. William Collin, is RSP1A been updated, or is it the radio? RSP1A is the radio, so it's that's the radio side of things. The update is to the software. Here's SDR Uno. That actually has been updated. SDR Uno. David in Barcelona, how are you, my friend? E83IEK. Always nice to have you here, my friend, for sure. And cool, we'll have new antennas. Nice. So we'll have beer also. Beer costs. Man, I'm not sure I'm gonna have beer on all the shows though, but maybe not on Monday. Monday I don't think I'll have beer because I don't want to be I don't want to have beer before going to the event on Monday night. Geek Nerd, nice to have you on board, my friend. What's the beer today? Well, this is the second one, which is the first one was the Beer of the Damned. That's the first one I had, the Beer of the Damned, La Maudite. And Trois Pistoles, which is the next one, the one that I'm having right now. So that's where we are at in the beer side of things. It was too beautiful, Fastload, the blue one. I'm pretty sure they actually look really nice, Fastload. Honestly, they look very, very sharp. John Pickney, nice to have you on board from Virginia. Keegan says, can still DX VHF channels via sporadic E, but not as easy as digital. The problem with digital is it needs to be, very, very solid because it's a hit or miss. It decodes or not, APLF radio, take care, my friend. Bullfrog 89 says, I DX'd the TV station from college in Ann Arbor, Michigan to Kingston, Ohio last summer. Not impossible, just less likely. Yeah, it's more difficult. It's much more difficult, that's for sure. Olivia TG, nice to have you here, Olivia. Nice to have you on board. Go to Texas, everything is bigger there. Oh, man. John Pickney says, Cuba was still analog last time I saw it last summer. Yeah, you could, and I know there's a few places like Cuba. I think Mexico also has quite a lot of, and a lot of Central American countries. It's just that I never received a TV station from anywhere else in Canada or US. Of course, it's possible, that's for sure. I need to check it out. You need to check it out for sure. It's just, Keegan says, and there are stations in Canada that are now. Yeah, there's still a few stations. They're lower powered in some remote areas, but not a lot of them. Not a lot of them. John Pickney says, I once had the PSIP frame from KVBC Channel 3 Las Vegas. Wow, D1DJK 6195, Voice of America, Africa. Do I hear it right now? Let's see if I hear it. It is there. Not super strong, but it's there. I do hear Voice of America on 6195 right now. Johnny the Xer, nice to have you on board. W3JMC. The Canadian analog stations left on TV are low powered. They're not the regular stations you have everywhere. They're low powered for certain communities. So they're of course scattered around, but there's not that many of them. But I believe they are lower powered stations. And I know there's still some out there that are broadcasting for sure. Yeah, Johnny the Xer, it's fun to have the scanning functionality on SDR Uno, absolutely. I've used it a little bit in the VHF, UHF range, which is a lot of fun. For sure. That's for sure. VE3KRP, nice to have you on board, my friend, from Thunder Bay, Ontario. So pretty cool to see you here, Fast Eddie. Texan PL680 beer. The Dam sounds like a perfect late night drink when in vampire mode while listening to Shortwave. Pretty much. Yeah, well, it depends what you want to do. I remember when I used to DX a lot at late nights. Something I haven't done in a long time. I should one night, like just decide, okay, tonight I'm gonna stay up late and tune the shortwave bands up to like 2 or 3 or 4 hours, 4 a.m. Yeah, when you do that, you're better off with a coffee at like midnight because it's gonna keep you awake. Beer will, if I drink beer while listening to shortwave around midnight, I'll probably go to sleep at 1 a.m. Alcohol, if I sit down, alcohol has this effect of making me drowsy and I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to sleep when I drink alcohol. So, The question that was asked was, does a galvanic oscillator work with radio or receivers? Something like that. And it's nice to have you on board, the Geek Nerd. Mad Radio DXer, nice to have you here. RBL4, nice to have you on board from Phoenix. Nice to have you here. D1DJK says, tomorrow my first day of the year where I go out on my radios and try to catch stations without any interference. Cool. Cool. I always I'm gonna stop touching the keyboard. John Pickney says, interesting. Long ago, WSEE TV channel 12 in Erie, Pennsylvania would be seen via eSkip on channel 2. CHEX TV Peterborough had a relay on channel 2 in Bancroft, Ontario, and would relay WSEE. Wow. That's interesting. Does Canada have what we call Franken FMs? That is a low-power analog channel 6 operating as a commercial FM station. Not that I know of. Not that I know of. Maybe Sheldon would be. Maybe Sheldon would be a little more knowledgeable. He's a little more knowledgeable than me, and he's more knowledgeable than me than everything that is kind of local AM FM stuff. I'm not much informed about all of what's possible and what's done with the broadcast band stuff and TV stations, personally. Yeah, that's a way of doing it. I could set up, like Band Radio DXer says, no longer the extra tonight, just sets his SDR to record and analyze in the morning. And yes, that's true. You can leave you can leave for sure. And you know, look in the morning. But there's something about being there when it's happening. You know, there's something I don't like. It's cool. I mean, you can definitely see the DX and the stuff that you've missed that you could listen in through the night. But there's something about being there when that signal is happening that I somehow still want to, you know, keep. Matthew C, nice to have you on board. Says Voice of America, a little better on 15580. Check that out, 15580. It's there, but it's weak for me because I believe at this time it comes from Greenville, North Carolina. And it probably skips over me somehow a little bit. Yes, Fastlow, that would be nice. Some late night HF shortwave stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. That'd be cool. You know, like I take a Saturday night of some time and just, maybe not a Saturday night. Would be one of those nights anyways. But a Friday night would be better for me because a Saturday night means that, you know, if I go to bed at 4 a.m., I got an international radio report next morning. It's not a good idea. But maybe a Friday night we could do something. That'd be cool. We'd do a Friday night radio hangout. Late night radio with chips, nachos, beer, and just listen to the radio. That'd be cool. We need to do that. Well, Olivia says coffee makes her sleep. Wow. If I drink one coffee at 10 p.m., I can tell you I'm not going to sleep until 4 a.m. I'll just be turning and tossing in the bed. Medina Mike, nice to have you on board from Buffalo, New York. Last summer, Channel 7, Watertown, New York was coming in strong, full HD. Well, you know, that is one thing though. Okay, let's there's one type of DXing that maybe could be good for HD TV. And that would be when there's some tropospheric scattering of signals, when there's temperature inversions, and that could be good because, I mean, a VHF up to a certain frequency, almost the UHF range, could be enhanced. And what's nice with tropo is that the signal tend to be very stable. So when it gets strong, it'll stay strong for sometimes hours at a time. So if you do get into some tropo, and I didn't think about that, but in some moments where, you know, temperatures change, cold fronts, warm fronts go through, it's really, really nice because, I mean, that could be strong enough and long enough that you can actually listen for a few hours at a time to a very far away, 200-300 kilometers station. That's something I need to check out. And when there's fronts, it's very important. When a cold front goes through, you know, it's really hot and then suddenly it's cool or cold. These are good times to try for that. So we'll be checking that out for sure. Boats use those isolated DC ground for shore power AC ground or galvanic rust will result through some of the electrolysis. As for the question on HF WeatherFax frequencies, here is a great publication. It's been updated in January of this year, and it's the Worldwide Marine Radio Facsimile Broadcast Schedules maintained by NOAA, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration in the United States. It contains the list of all the weather broadcasts of WeatherFax from around the world with times and frequencies. It is a must-have for anybody that wants to decode weather broadcaster Brian Penny. Check that out. Another good place for weather fax frequencies of all sorts, the EIBI space.de list of frequencies. If you put fax in the search query, when you search on a page, you will see that it contains a lot of broadcasts of fax frequencies. But the list that I just sent, that I just posted the link, Brian, is one of the best. It's one of the best. It's updated regularly. It was updated in January 2019. Before that, it had been updated somewhere in the earlier. It was updated earlier in the year. It's updated once or twice a year, roughly. And it's a great list. John Todd Jr., WB5HHD, listening in Katy, Texas. Glad you learned how to pronounce Pancho Villa. Pancho Villa. You happy now? Man. What else do we have? Mickey Lamage says CKYB TV in Brandon, Manitoba is analog on channel 4. The tower is a 411.5 meter, 1,350 feet high. Wow. Manrio DXer says, I agree, Joe, but these days I am too old to stay up alert through the whole night. Yeah, I get it. But it's still cool. I mean, it's something that we didn't have the possibility to do before. I mean, now you can leave these things, record all night, and in the next morning you look at what it kept of all the information. It's pretty cool for that. So, you know. Brian Penny says, I agree. If I don't wake, I didn't hear it. Matambali, 15580 is 9 plus 10. Fastload says, as long as I can put whiskey in my coffee, I'm cool. You can put whiskey in your coffee. I got no problem with that. We'll end up drinking. You know, the difference maybe is we talk to each other and listen in. We're going to keep ourselves, you know. I can stay up with alcohol, but I have to be kind of, you know, active. I need to move and do stuff. If you noticed, when we're at the karaoke bar at the Zoe, I'm always up and I'm always standing for a very simple reason. The reason I'm standing is because it keeps me awake. If I sit down in a chair, I'm going to actually fall asleep. Ohio Ham Guy, nice to have you on board. KC8MXW. Sheldon Harvey says, as far as I know, there aren't any operations on 87.75 FM, channel 6 audio frequency in Canada at this time. Cool. John Pickney says, Joe, with Tropo, I had DX out at 400 miles on UHF and analog. Absolutely. So, you know, it could be interesting to use Tropo for HDTV monitoring. That could be very nice. William Conlon says, is Eton G6 Aviator is no more sticky anymore. Applied vinegar-based cleaner. Cool. Cool. The M1DJK says, I have maps full of broadcast QSL card station pennant letters from radio stations around the world. Many of those stations don't exist anymore. I remember receiving I received letters, a lot of letters in the 80s from AM, FM stations. And Radio DX, I take it FM signals that are received via Tropo are also more stable because it is from a lower atmosphere than the ionosphere when it is E-skip. Yeah, and it doesn't actually propagate in the same way also. Via E-skip, it's like a shortwave signal a little bit. The properties of the ionosphere, of that patch, is constantly being changed. It's constantly restructuring itself. Where a tropo signal is kind of a trap signal in layers of the atmosphere. That is much more stable, and so that's why you can often get these signals for hours at a time sometimes. Like I always say in the VHF range, I remember one night listening. Everybody was amazed. We were listening into a repeater that's on the South Shore here on Mont Rougemont on 146.700. And one night, while there was a net, stations were coming in from Quebec City, which is, what, about 200 kilometers away? Crystal clear, like if they were here in Montreal, basically. And there was even a station that came in from Rivière-du-Loup, which is much farther away. Probably, I don't know, Rivière-du-Loup from here is at least 300 to 400 kilometers at least. I don't know the exact distance, but it's far away. It was coming in like it was here. And it lasted throughout a couple of hours in the evening. Everybody was just amazed that the repeater was getting all these stations from so far away. And it lasted one evening, and the next day everything was back to normal. It was just weird. Matthew C says, speaking of Skip, I can hear the HF relay of Newstalk 1010 Toronto on 6070 during the day, but not at night because I'm getting skipped. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, same here. And the daytime in Montreal 6070 is a pretty normal catch. But when the sun sets, then it actually skips over. It's like I don't hear it anymore. Simon Templar can hear Voice of America in Portland 2 on 15580. SFM Marrow. What antenna do I use? It's a 22 meter long sloper antenna in my backyard. 75 feet, roughly. Terry Colgan, nice to have you on board, my friend. Brent Penny, you're the best. It's that list I've been using for years. It's the list, the best list. And you can check, every 6 months or so. They update it from time to time. And you have all this weather fact stations from around the world there. It's really, really nice. Really, really nice. Simon Templar says, using our high-gain X7 tri-band Yagi here at work. And the IC 7300. Great transceiver. Keegan says, I read somewhere that one morning in the winter of '94 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, signal WBAY TV Channel 2 in Green Bay, Wisconsin, was overpowered by station in Montreal, Quebec, and Moncton, New Brunswick. Off-skip situations. There's a lot of, if you go back in time, there's the 1957-58. There's a lot of talk about it. The biggest, strongest solar cycle ever in the 1900s was the 1957-58 solar cycle maximum. That was so intense that actually one of the biggest problems that was happening is that transatlantic stations, TV stations, were overpowering sometimes American TV stations. But of course, they weren't in the same system. They were in PAL, where the North American was in TSC. So it would just do a gibberish of signals on TV. And there's a lot of talk about how stations throughout North America were interfering with each other because the maximum usable frequency was so high due to the very high solar activity that they actually were almost always interfering with other stations far away. It's the same thing as the AM band. I still remember my mom listening to CKVL 850 here in Montreal at night because there was a guy there, I don't remember his name, but she was a big fan of listening to that guy in the evening. And sometimes she would come up to me because she knew I was doing radio stuff, so she was asking questions like, I'm trying to listen to that station on 850, and to CKVL, and I have difficulty tonight. And for sure, sometimes the skip from AM medium wave station on 850 kilohertz from the US was overpowering CKVL 850 because CKVL 850 had to lower their power at night. So they were actually interfered with. And sometimes it was difficult to actually listen to local station here in Montreal. It's just crazy. D Matthews 87, nice to have you on board from Northeast UK. Currently have a long wire speaker cable running across the washing line in the garden. Works surprisingly well. It very surprising. Where I used to live before, I would actually clip alligator clip on the clothesline, which was a metal wire clothesline. And it was doing an amazing job at receiving shortwave because it was a very, 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 very low noise environment. Bobby Burgess, so when is this new station going to be on the air tonight? It's actually on the air probably now, Bobby. Radio, if you're talking about Radio Pinty. Radio Pinty is on 4990 kilohertz. It's not a new station. It's an old station reactivated. And as soon as it's dark, pretty much, is time to start tuning in and seeing if we can hear it. Pretty much. It's a tropical band station from Suriname. So it's as soon as it's dark between that area and where we're going to listen to. I'm going to be trying to pick it up for sure. Brent, did you used to play in a band? I did have a band for a short while when I had my guitar lessons in early 90s. Early 90s. John Pickney says best FMDX he's heard is ZFB FM from Bermuda. Pretty cool. That was a good one. That's a pretty good one. Pretty good one. Yes, Tropo, great site, DX Info Center, Tropo Europe. That's a good one for sure. Yes, Eddie SX says we got a station on a repeater on a foggy night from Joliet, Illinois, 348 miles away. Wow. Pretty good. Mario DXer says my FM Tropo record is just over 600 miles, UK to Czech Republic. My FM E-Skip record is about 2,200 miles, UK to Egypt. That is nice. That is one of those things that you're just so happy when it happens. NSM do Brazil, nice to have you here. Good night. Says I am accompanying here in Barro de Limão in Sao Paulo, capital of Brazil. Nice to have you here. João Carlos P. U2OLT blog. Nice to have you on board, my friend from Brazil. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else do we have? Lots of stuff. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. All the DX that can happen on the shortwave, and and when you get on the FM bands and so on. It's something I didn't think about, honestly. But Bullfrog 89 just installed his new 9-1 ballon. Quite an improvement, picking up LNE Radio California on 9420. Yeah, don't be fooled also by the fact that it could be propagation, as the solar flux is much higher. So a lot of signals are much stronger today. Coming in really well here with some music, 9420 kilohertz. Let's try it here on the Yesu. Pretty good. Pretty good. Really good signal here on the Yaesu FT450 also. Take care, Sheldon. It was nice to have you on board. See you Sunday morning on the International Radio Report. My friend, it's nice to have you here. Baglon, I listen to the World Radio Network from time to time on my smartphone. I actually take my smartphone and listen in to the World Radio Network via some apps on my phone. So that is actually nice. So John Pickney says, Lane 19 and 78, I was driving from Fredericksburg, Virginia to Alexandria. I was trying every 2-meter repeater pair on 146745, got a WR2 call, repeater come back. I called CQ and worked VE1 SAT. Wow, pretty good, pretty good. Medina Mike, what's a good antenna for FMDXing? As surprising as it is, TV antennas are actually very good for FMDXing. They can really be they can be very, very good. Antennas for FMDXing. You know what is one of the most problematic of FMDXing is much more the receiver that you'll use than the antenna that you use, because a lot of the FMDXing, the problem is mostly the radio, and if you live in a big city, it's even more difficult. Here in Montreal, DXing the FM band is an extremely difficult task, and the reason behind that is that there's so many very, very powerful FM stations, basically. John Pickney says, was running 25 watts into a Hustler collinear in the trunk lid of the car. Amazing. Daniela, nice to have you on board. I'm getting hooked to this. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you get hooked. A lot of people actually watched the show once and it's like, whoa. Yeah, that's a good question from Bullfrog. The restaurant or the transportation? Brian Penny says our hobby is DC to daylight, everything in between. There's will always be something to listen, or something or some government willing to exploit it. Just wait for the internet to go belly up. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Penny Zanakis says, I used one of those antennas, didn't work well for me, but I must have done it wrong, setup and all. Yeah, but like I said, especially on FM, one of the biggest problem really is the receiver. There's not a lot of radios out there that do have a good enough FM receiver to really DX properly. And what happens is if you live not very far from some powerful FM stations, putting up an antenna or an outside antenna, for example, is often going to be a bad idea because you're just going to overload the receiver. And sometimes you're better off DXing just with the telescopic that's with the radio. And that's it, you know. One of the receivers that I have here that is amazing for FM DXing is my Grunic G5. I also have a GE Super Radio. I got the GE Super Radio 3. It's okay. I mean, it does the job, but somehow I don't find it that amazing. And I believe the first Super Radios, the 1 and the 2, were better than the 3. Even though it's still an okay radio, for sure. John Pigney says, one spec to look for a receiver for FMDX is capture ratio. The lower the number, the better for selectivity. Your stereo separation won't be great, but the adjacent channel rejection will be good. Radio Weak Signal Works says, for FMDXing, he uses a Sony XDR F1 HD FMDX tuner. Is the best one, owned one for many years. Interesting. So, yes, there was a time, like Bobby says, where the World Radio Network was shared on WRMI, but now it's Supreme Master TV. I wonder though why most antennas for 87-108 are 75 ohm. Yeah, it's one of those things sometimes. It's like TV. The Rock 80, nice to have you here. The funny thing today is that when I found the voice of Bucharest from Romania, I told my brother about it, but he did not care and said, this is not a great thing, so it was a big shock for me. You know, you like or you don't. It's such... It's radio. I mean, you know. So then he is in the subway, in the metro, underground train. So you must be then in the orange line or the green line downtown, because it's the only place where it works. Oh, the blue line. The blue line works now also. That's true. The blue line now works for smartphones. It's funny. Oh yeah, shortwave is great. Wolfrog89 says, I got a Texan R9012 that I keep by the bed for when I can't sleep. Not a great radio, but it does okay. Anything more than the telescopic, and it's all noise. You got to learn your radio, absolutely. You know, each radio has its good and bad points. And learning to use it properly is very important. Absolutely. Running the S450 DLX and the Eton running field BT use 75 ohms for an external antenna connection. Yes, I do believe. But I believe for the FM it's kind of a standard for the external antennas on that range. The Mantius 87, what's the best, most interesting thing you or anyone have ever received from a station? I recall getting some cool bumper stickers from Voice of Russia in the early 2000s. Lots of stuff that was cool that I received. I got so many things over the years: stickers, pennants, calendars were one of the things I remember. Radio Peking, Beijing, which was what the station was called before China Radio International, sending these amazingly cool calendars at the end of the year. I've got tons of things, hand-painted bottles from China. I've got, oh man, so many things. I wish I would have kept. I lost a lot of the stuff that I had over the years with two things: my carelessness at actually putting them away somewhere, but also when I moved from where I lived with my parents and moved alone before moving here. It was a I had so many things I threw away a lot of it, which I totally regret because there was so many cool stuff in there. I had big boxes full of stuff from everywhere. Unfortunately, a lot of it I lost over time. And the E1DGK, the R9012 is amazing on medium wave, shortwave as well, but very sensitive, but it fails on FM. I never really DX much on FM with it. Daniela, it says the Ethon E1 is his favorite FM DX machine. The Sony X1 HD comes a close second. Cool. Actually, I had one of the cool moments. There was a contest on Radio Canada International French, and they would if you were chosen, they would actually ask you what an album, a vinyl record from a Canadian artist, what Canadian French language Canadian artist would you like to have a record from? And I was one of the chosen that won the contest somewhere in '85, and the contest. So they asked me what artist I wanted to have a vinyl record, and I said Angèle Arsenault. And it was so cool because the CBC is here in Montreal, so there's a little car with the CBC logo, and it stopped in front of the house, and the guy came out with the album, and he just said, here's, you won. And there was a little note saying, well, congratulations, you just won this album, and blah, blah, blah. And he got back into this little, CBC car and drove away. And I actually was reminded of that this week because Angèle Arsenault, that I had this vinyl record, died this week or last week. So it's like, oh, okay. I actually had a Radio Canada International album. Pretty cool. You're on the aging yellow line. So you're going to the South Shore. Oh man. KI5CWF says, in 2002 I was called Einstein by a pilot at a job I had and asked my boss, why does he call me that? It's not my name. My boss told me that the pilot called me that because he knew I was into radios. Being into radio has so many aspects of your work that sometimes can actually be helped by it. When I used to go to, fix computers, people have no darn idea how these routers work, the Wi-Fi. And they're like, I put the router in the basement and I can't get it anywhere in the house. Yeah, because for radio waves, putting your router in the basement is the worst thing you could do. And people just don't understand because they have no knowledge of radio waves, and sometimes I even wonder they have knowledge that the Wi-Fi router actually transmits radio waves, honestly. And here's Mr. The mascot of the show, Mr. Paul the Cat, saying hi. So, it's, look here. He doesn't want to look there. So, look there. I just pushed his face. So anyways, people don't know. And you know what? Being a radio guy, I helped so many times with routers because I knew of, radio waves, how they propagate. I also knew about congestion, too many routers on the same channel. People have no idea that, the router has more than one channel. People think that they're just broadcasting and that's it. And, I would go into the menus and say, well, we're going to change the channel. And especially when I had a smartphone. When I had the smartphone, I was able for the first time to actually see easily. And I could see it with the laptops and stuff. But, with the smartphone, it was kind of easy. I could see where the congestion of how many signals and what channel to choose and stuff. So in many aspects of our life, radio guys are sometimes very useful because okay. Another time when that was useful for me was when I started in the early 2000s. One of the things that happened with wireless mouse, when there were some wireless mice, the first models were on the same frequencies in the CB band as cheap remote controlled toys. And what happened is that I had one of the Microsoft mice from like early 2000 that was broadcasting on 27045, one of the 27145, sorry, one of the remote control toy frequencies. And of course, being a radio guy, one of the first things I thought was, well, if I transmit with my walkie-talkie in the CB band, I probably will interfere. And yes, I would. Every time I would talk, the mouse would freeze. And when I would stop talking, the mouse would go back to normal. So one winter, I go to a client and I fix her PC. And I remember I changed her hard drive and all of that. And then she comes up to me and she said, oh, by the way, I got a question. Are these wireless mouse really good? And I said, why? And I said, and she showed me hers, which was the same Microsoft mice that I had. She said, well, almost all the time the mouse works fine, but sometimes it freezes. And she says, when I plug in my mouse with the USB cord, it never does that. And it was winter, and we just had a storm. And she said, for example, last night, it froze for half an hour, and then it came back to normal. And I said, was there a crew that was actually picking up the snow in the street? The snow removal crew was there last night? She said, yeah. I said, okay, I got the same mouse, and I just briefly said, I know stuff about radio. I'm a big radio fan guy, so I know things about radios and frequencies. And I said, that mouse is actually in a frequency that is the same frequencies that CB radios use. And I said, when the crews remove snow, the trucks, the ones that the private owned trucks that are the ones that the snow plow, actually the snowblower actually blows the snow into the truck, these trucks, they communicate with each other on CB. And I said, so last night they removed the snow, so you had guys in the CB talking in the trucks, and it was interfering with your mouse. And she looked at me and she said, really? And I said, yep, it's pretty much what happened. I said, I got the same mouse, and if I talk in my CB, the mouse pointer just freezes. And she said, wow, this is so cool. But I mean, if I was not a radio guy, okay, a regular tech guy would not know at all what's happening. A regular tech guy would have just said, well, you got a crappy mouse. And in some way, it was a crappy mouse because, I mean, using these channels for a mouse, it was kind of, I don't know, they were kind of hoping that there was no CBers around or something. I don't know. It was just weird. But anyways, these are times when being a radio guy, a knowledgeable radio guy, was something that actually is helpful, honestly, and it helps you in many ways sometimes, because we understand radio propagation, we understand radio waves, how they work. So it helps us when we use devices that actually have radio waves and use radio waves. D1DJK says, still very happy with his Lextronic S350DL. And let me just find it because I kind of lost it. Good old analog receiver. That thing rocks with great sound, extremely sensitive. I like mine, but it drifts a little bit. I'm just gonna let the cat out because Mr. Paul wants to get out, and the door is closed. So here we go, Mr. Paul. Bye bye. And here we go. Mr. Paul the cat is now out of the office. And now I've got cat hair pretty much everywhere. So, oh man. What else do we have? So, anyways, you know, Kilamash says, does anybody remember the gold-plated toothpicks from Radio Netherlands show? What's new with Bruce Parsons and Neville Gray? Wow. I don't remember that. Jean Pickney, regarding ASCIP, I have a video recording of the interference you are having to your reception is due to natural phenomena and beyond the control of WESH TV. Recorded it in Alexandria, Virginia. Wow. Pretty cool. William Collins says, no FM for him, HF all the time. I gotta say I'm pretty much on shortwave 90% of the time. The 10% that's left is probably medium wave or AM. Hey Carl, nice to have you here. Nothing like Paul the Cat to have everybody just coming out of the darkness. The only JK says, Paul understands more about radios than 90% of folks on the street. Yeah, probably. Probably. Medina Mike says, his dog Sassy is watching. Wow, cool. Nice. It's fun sometimes. The other day, I was listening to Shortwave, and Paul the Cat just, you know, climbed on my lap and stayed there for an hour, you know. And I pet him for an hour and listening to Shortwave was like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Kind of nice little moment. Kind of a cool moment there. William Helms says, nobody having understanding my getting into Shortwave asked me about contact with bars. Kidding is kidding, but I can't. You know what, William? It's just, people are just crazy, you know. Jumping, I've heard all the tinfoil hat jokes, I think. Yeah, probably. Probably. Even DJK says, "Oh, same you can do a 2-meter receiver, and see drive on the right frequency. You simply push the beep tone to open FM relays. The lady behind the window will throw away her headphones." Matt says, Voice of Greece, 9420, nice in Denver. Yes, that's what we were actually tuning in here. Some music, pretty good. Keegan says, 9690, Radio Exterior de España. So let's... pretty good. I will do one change, though, because like many transceivers in radios, the internal speaker of the radio is crappy. I will actually put a better speaker on this thing. Here we go. Radio Exterior de España. Pretty realistic speaker. 9690, pretty good. That's pretty good. Pretty good. William Helm says, I agree, DX knows radio. Nick Mayakovsky, nice to have you on board, my friend. Oh man, but you know, there's so many things. You know, I don't know if, you know what, I don't even know if they still use those old FM transmitters and the receivers at the McDonald's. When I moved out of my parents' home in 1991, it was 1990, 91, around 91. Where I lived, at the corner of the street was a McDonald's. And I remember when I had my first, when I set up my scanner with the discount outside, I could hear, I believe it was 30, it was a low frequency, like 30.480, something like that. And I would hear the McDonald's in the corner at the takeout for the cars. And I remember I had a lot of fun. You know, I would listen sometimes to what people were ordering. And I remember one night when it was really busy, I started, because they would always give the price how much it cost. And I would, for 1 hour, I started jotting down all the amounts. And I remember being amazed at how much money gets into the McDonald's in 1 hour just at the takeout. It's just crazy. I was like, wow, they make tons of money. It's just amazing. Amazing. Matambali says, I had one of those older wireless Logitech mice, active on either 27045 or 27145. Supposed to be reserved for remote control. It drove me a little bit nuts. You know what's the problem with Matambali with those? Is that, yeah, they were on remote control frequency, which was technically outside, you know, between, because it was 27145. And 27145 was between channel 13 and channel 14, 15. Channel 15 and channel 16. So channel 15 was on 27135 and channel 16 was on 27155. 27145 was that reserved remote control. The problem is the mouse had a wideband receiver. You would transmit on 27405 channel 40 and it would freeze. The receiver was not meant to be only listening to 27145. It was meant as a wideband thing. And of course, you know, that thing was very underpowered. It was like 100 milliwatts or something. It was a very, very low power compared to, you know, a 4-watt CB. It just didn't work. It was nuts. That was so nuts. Oh, man. Yeah, it is nice sound from Realistic, absolutely. Compared to the very tinny, you know, every radio. When I bought I remember when I purchased my Kenwood R5000 and the speaker was on top. I remember thinking, wow, this is a, you know, $1,300 radio and it has such crappy sound out of it. And that's when I purchased the Realistic speaker. I don't know if you guys can see it from here, but it's out of the range. So here it is. This is the speaker that's coming out. And the audio goes through the DSP-40, which is down back here. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't think so. So down there, I got the DSP-40, which is the audio DSP from Realistic. So I've got this going through the DSP-40 going to the speaker over there, the Realistic speaker there, which sounds so much better than the speaker from the radio itself here. It's just, you know, crazy. Radio Week signal works. Still a lot of BB monitors in use at 45. Absolutely. The other day I took my scanner, my R20. I took my ICOM SCR20, put it in my jacket, and I did. I took a big walk, and I let it scan through the 49 megahertz baby monitor. Still, tons of them are being used. Absolutely. So, you know. Mario DX says, I am sure I receive a restaurant or takeaway when there was F2 propagation from the USA to UK. There was a guy speaking, giving orders. I think he said something like table number. Wow. It's just crazy. I remember I would walk around and it's, you know, I would listen in to the takeout of you know, KFC and McDonald's and Harvey's and so on. It was just kind of nice. Matam Ballet says, yeah, just between channel 7 and 8 and 15 and 16, and was more than enough adjacent channel interference to freak out the receiver. Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember having, that was so funny, when I had a 4x4 remote control truck, and Nikko, I think it's was it Nikko or something like that? Anyways, it was an expensive one. My brother used to work at a hobby shop, and they cleared out stuff. And one day at the hobby shop, some of the stuff they looked at my brother and they said, the stuff here worth throwing away. If you want something in there, take it. And my brother came home, I was 14, with 8 different remote control trucks. And of course, my brother came home with those because he was like, I'm going to sell those to make money. But when he came home, he said, pick one. I'm giving you one of them. So pick one that you like, and it'll be yours. And there was a really big one. It was like probably, it was really big. It was like this big, this high. It was a very, very big 4x4 truck, and it was a very expensive one. It was, it had, it was like, it had suspension and everything. It was really one of those expensive one at the time. And I think my brother told me something like it was worth like $400 in 1984, which is a very expensive remote control thing. But it was using one of the channels on the CB frequencies. And it was a digital remote control. But the funny thing is, there are, I believe, 5 channels for remote control in the CB region, that 27 megahertz region. One of them is actually on a channel. There's one of the remote control channels that is 27255, and that's channel 23. And when I turned it on, I was curious. I remember turning on the radio and checking out what it sounded like, and it sounded like a TV buzz. It actually really sounded like a TV buzzer. And I remember back then there was still a lot of activity, but there was a gang on a CB that would hang out on channel 23 every night. And I knew that if I was going, even though it wasn't super powerful, I knew that if I turned it on and started playing with the remote control truck, that some of them would hear it. One of the guys was not that far away, maybe 2 streets from me. And I remember every time I would turn it on and play with the radio, when I turn it off, I'd hear him rant saying, I don't hear you guys, I hear this TV buzzing, I don't know where it comes from, it sounds like some kind of TV signal on channel 23, and it's probably really close to me because it's really strong, and he was ranting all the time. And I was like, wow, okay, the guy hears me really well. And at the same time, I was like, man, who decided to put that frequency of the remote control on channel 23? It's like weird, man, David says, I agree the speaker and the 7100's control head isn't too bad. However, I use mine with a realistic Minimus 2.5 imported in the US via eBay. Got a pair. So, yeah, these sound great. You got another one as ICR 8500. So, yeah, they're cheap and they're really, really good. They do sound really, really nice. And much better than most speakers. These radios are great, but most speakers are they're positioned at the top, which is never a good place. So having an outboard speaker is very good, really good. Bullfrog says, conditions will be good hearing WWA on 15. First time I've picked it up since moving to Albany last August. Yeah, well, the solar activity is actually much higher in the past couple of days. Look at that. 15 megahertz. noisy, but it's there. It's noisy, but it's there. No, it's really Nikko. It was like Nikko, Nico. William Helm says, ton of cordless phone BB monitor traffic from people that used to live here in my complex 30 years ago. Matt, woohoo! Solar flux up to 82. Absolutely, absolutely. You know it's solar minimum when 82 makes you happy. Absolutely. I remember when there were, even in the 80s and the 90s, in between those huge solar cycles we had back then, when we were at the bottom part and when the solar flux were, like for a couple of days was at 80, 90 or 100, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. Let's, listen to everything you got to listen to. And then like 4 days later, the solar flux was back down to 70 and it's like, okay, we're back to solar minimum. You guys listen tonight. It could be very, very interesting with a solar flux higher solar flux like that. It could be very interesting on the bands tonight. Shitty Pyro 90 says, hopefully conditions are good tomorrow for Citizen Band Radio so I can try to make some contacts. At 80, try anybody that does these out of band, 27 megahertz out of band stuff. Try it out. Matambali says, amazing memory, Gel 27255, channel 23. And RC1 Blue. Yeah, I remember. That I couldn't remember what color it could be, but I remember it was one of the remote control channels. It was just so funny. And the guy was going nuts. It was like, there's a TV signal on I can't hear anybody. I'm desperate, TV Radio 1972, nice to have you here. So pretty cool to have you on board. Cool. Brent, are there any ICOM radios you would recommend? Receivers? The ICOM ICR30 seems to be pretty good. The ICOM ICR8600 seems to be very nice also, but still expensive. For an analog radio, I would say that if you find a good deal on a used ICOM ICR8500, like the one I got here, it's actually a good idea to pick up one. They are very, very good. It's a very nice radio. The 8500, beautiful radio. If you get one for a decent price, it's very good. The transceivers, everybody seems to be happy with the ICOM ICR. The transceivers, the 7300, 7100, 7300. They all seem to be happy with those for sure. SDR Play, software-defined radio receiver, SDR Play, tell folks. Yes, absolutely. Everybody is, and I actually did some radio, some videos with version 1.3 with the frequency scanner. Absolutely. Absolutely. We talked about it for sure. Daniela, old-timers will agree that the absolute best time for high-band FMDX will occur during low sunspot activity. Go figure. This applies to summer months, of course. Yeah, for the tropo stuff and all of that, it's pretty interesting. Man. TV Radio 72 got WWV on 2.5 early this morning. Pretty cool. The ICOM IC706. A lot of the ICOM stuff is good, actually. Yep, Charlie Bravo. Yep, absolutely. The thing is, a lot of on fast load, a lot of amateur stuff in the 2 meter band sounds like Charlie Bravo, and sometimes worse. And Dirty Diaper 21, nice to have you here, my friend. Take care, John Pickney. It was nice to have you here. Yeah, it makes us all jump. Mino Poo, nice to have you here. Yeah, 756 Pro. Great radios. Oh, Mad Radio DXer is right. The ICOM ICR 75 is an amazing radio. Amazing radio, absolutely. Also, that's for sure. That's for sure. Jerry DX made a few videos on the version 1.3. Pretty cool. Yeah, you know, people that have an ICOM ICR 75, they hold on to him, for sure. KI5CWF has his very first scanner bought when he was stationed at Barbers Point Naval Air Station in Hawaii back in '92, an AOR AR900. No longer works. No, sad. But at least it worked. Hey guys, we've been on for 2 hours 45. I'm going to say good night for tonight. I'm a little tired. I'm going to take it easy. Don't forget Radio Apinti from Suriname, 4990 kilohertz. Try that out tonight. It's been reported across North America and some European countries, 4990 kilohertz. As soon as the sun sets, wherever you are, try that out. A lot of people have been listening to it. Also, remember, Monday, this coming Monday, 2100 UTC, we'll have a 2-hour show. We will be chasing HARP signals from Alaska. And Wednesday, 2100 UTC, we'll have another show, chasing HARP signals from Alaska. And the next show, officially, is next Friday, of course. Will be March 29th, 2000 hours UTC, regular time, doing some shortwave stuff. So lots of stuff happening next week. I hope you guys enjoy our show. Don't forget that you can send a donation, paypal.me /shortwave. If you like what I do, please help out. You can also send it at the Yahoo email that you see here. And take care, guys. Have a great night. Don't forget to try Radio Apinti Suriname on 4990 kilohertz tonight. Like I said, it's been reported almost everywhere last night. I'm going to try it for sure here. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, my friends. See you Monday, 2100 UTC. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Take care. And always fun to have all of you here. Stay safe, my friends, and have a great weekend. Bye-bye, my friends. See you soon.